Hey, good morning. Rich here with Summit Life Group. So I want to take a few minutes and talk about some of the differences between being a real estate agent and an insurance agent or a life insurance agent. Oftentimes people are maybe considering one of these two different paths. And so I thought I'd take a few minutes and just talk a little bit about it from my perspective. Please keep in mind if you're watching this that I am a life insurance agent. I own a life insurance agency. We do train and support independent life insurance agents. So naturally, that's where I'm going to be biased in that direction. However, I want you guys to also understand that I have some of my best friends in the world that are real estate agents that are very successful, that I have so much respect for, and all real estate agents. And I wish all agents, I want everybody to be successful. And so just understand that. So I'm a big fan of both. There's a lot of similarities though between kind of either path, and maybe the type of people that are going to maybe enter the any of these two careers, and also a lot of similarities between those that are successful. So I just wanted to talk about it from my perspective, in case maybe you're watching this and you're considering one of those two paths, or making a change or anything like that. So for one, I thought I'd talk about, there is this idea that people are maybe passionate about something, so it makes a lot of sense to go that direction. And there's definitely an element of truth to that. The more I've gone over life and the older I've gotten, the more I realize that I don't necessarily think that's true. And what I mean by that is, hey, you can love real estate and be passionate about real estate, so it makes sense to sell it, and that's true. I enjoy real estate. If I travel, I love to look at houses and how much things cost, and that's very interesting to me. But I don't know that passion is a prerequisite to being successful. When I got an insurance license, I did not have a passion for it. What I've often found to be true is that as we get good at something and as we become immersed at something, then a passion starts to kind of develop over time. And so I don't think being passionate or having a big interest towards one or the other is necessarily a major factor, but it could be, right? It could be. So maybe that's one reason to kind of go a certain direction. But I've developed a huge passion for helping clients and what that feels like in our business, but it wasn't something that I started with. So I just wanted to mention that. I will say the entry point, the way you get started is very similar in insurance and real estate, meaning that it doesn't really matter as much your education background and so forth. Everybody's going to have to take a pre-license course and go through that process, take a state exam and pass that, and then eventually get whichever license, and then there's obviously continuing education and those types of things. So I would say they're similar. I can't speak to which one is harder or which one is easier. I've heard different things, but I will say that it's a similar type of process. I'm not sure which one actually costs more and all those different things, but again, it's similar type of process and entry point. Both are going to be commission based, right? So there may be certain insurance setups where you have a base or something like that, but at the end of the day, if you're selling any type of insurance, life insurance, that's what we specialize in, or you're selling real estate, it is commission driven. So that's why it's going to attract the same similar type of people that are looking to do something. You got to understand that it's commission based, right? At the end of the day, even if you're in a setup where you have some type of base, ultimately it is a performance based career that you're taking either direction. So a lot of similarities there. You can look at the success rate or the failure rate, however you want to look at it. And I didn't go take time to look up the exact statistics. I've looked at all this stuff before, but I will say there's a lot of similarities in that there is a whole lot of real estate agents that aren't making any money that fail out, and there's a whole lot of insurance agents that don't make money and fail out. So you got to understand either way, the numbers are super, super large. Now, here's what I've noticed most of the time, and I would say this is probably true in real estate too, the majority of people that fail, and again, failing, I don't look at it as a negative thing. If you're failing forward, that's part of success. But people that quit, that don't actually make money and succeed, I would say the vast majority are going to quit inside the first year. Okay, in either industry, I would say this is probably true. I'm not quoting facts. I'm just speaking, giving perspective. I think most of the time people quit in the first year. Maybe it's they have the wrong expectations. The challenge is most people don't really just say I quit. What most people do is they still hold an active license. Some of them for years and years and years and years. I know this is true in the insurance space. And so they're still considered, an insurance agent or a real estate agent. So people say, hey, do you still do real estate? Or do you still do insurance? Yeah, of course. But do they spend 20 hours plus a week in their craft working it? No, but they get included in those numbers. So I'm just speaking through the similarities are very similar. Holding a license doesn't mean that those people are actually engaged and working their business. So most people I believe in either industry or either career, most of the people who quit do so in the first year of the business. And so, the thing I'll tell you is what's also similar is a lot of people oftentimes start it part-time. Okay, so this can be done, not always, but a lot of times people get started in either one part-time. But you have to understand the people that phase in and end up doing it full-time, they are the ones that make the most money. And that process of going full-time is hard either way, right? And this is part of the challenge, definitely in the insurance space, is that people aren't real enough about that, right? That the first year is hard. And yes, there are people that get started and make six figures right away. But if you look at most people that are successful, and I have friends, again, I love to hear stories of people that are very successful in the real estate business, very successful in the insurance business. Most of them were not super successful their very first year, right? Because they're learning, they're investing, and so there are exceptions. And again, we can define what success looks like. But most of them, right, that are successful, it happens once they've been consistent in their business for at least a year, right? And so, and you need to understand, in both paths, the top 1%, right, the top 1% of insurance agents make the most money. The top 1% of real estate agents make the most money. So if you want to make a lot of money, you need to understand that you want to rise to the top and be one in the top 10% and the top 5%. So those things are very similar. So let's just talk about maybe some differences. Real estate, overall, I would say if you take for sure, the average commission size in real estate is going to be much larger, right? So if you're a real estate agent, if you sell a $300,000 home, right? Those are big commissions, okay, in real estate. Now, in the life insurance space or in the insurance space, there are very large commissions as well. But I'm just saying you have to work up into that market if you're looking to generate large commission sales, and you have to be qualified and know how to work in those particular markets. So there are very similar type of large commissions, but if you average it out, the overall commissions in real estate are going to be much larger. So that is definitely a plus for real estate, right? You go sell a house or sell a couple houses, you're getting those big commission checks. Where generally in insurance, they're going to be smaller commission checks, but there are large ones in the insurance space. We got to learn how to do it. So that's definitely an advantage. You could get your real estate license and go. You could sell a couple houses and you could make some very large commissions, where you may have to sell several insurance policies to equal what you would get from one commission selling a house. So that's definitely a difference. Another thing that I think is, in terms of being cyclical, right? So real estate, although it's been a very long, definitely very positive run for the real estate market for a lot of years, but even within the year, I would say real estate tends to be a little more cyclical, right? There's times in the spring when more where sales go up. And so within the given year, real estate is going to be more cyclical. I think most people would agree with that. There are other factors that can also make real estate cyclical in terms of interest rates, like we're seeing right now. As of the time I'm making this video, obviously, interest rates and the economy and a lot of these different things can affect the real estate market. And so there are really, really good times, and there's times that it can be a little tougher. Doesn't mean, by the way, that they're not super successful agents even during the tough times. The tough times probably weed out, and the most successful agents still do great. So I'm not saying that you can't be successful. I'm just saying that real estate tends to be more cyclical. From my experience, at least in our space and what we do, insurance tends to be pretty consistent, right? There's not a lot that changes or shifts. I mean, there's definitely seasons where, depending on what type of niche you're in, there are seasons. But for the most part, I would say insurance tends to be pretty even keeled. It's not really an up and down, not really determined or dictated by outside factors and so forth. So I would say that's a plus for for insurance, right? It's kind of consistent, it's kind of always there. Another thing that's different, again, I'm biased, I'm just kind of highlighting from my perspective. I would say inventory, especially as the time making this video, one of the challenges with real estate can be, inventory, right? In those times when maybe it's there's not as many sales, there may be less inventory, which dictates how many sales you can make. Again, can still be super successful, but there's a lot of insurance agents out there that are maybe going to be chasing a fewer number of homes for sale. And so I think that tends to probably be a challenge for newer agents coming into the market. This is my perspective, but inventory can be, of your product that you're selling, which is houses in the real estate world. In the insurance world, specifically in the life insurance space, it's like the inventory is very, very large. Most people are still under, are way underinsured or don't have, life insurance. I know we can speak to other types of insurance. I know life insurance the most, but we don't really have an inventory problem. In fact, we have probably not enough agents out there, as so many agents are retiring and so forth. So there's a need for more life insurance agents to help with the massive amount of inventory. So I would say that's probably a big plus to insurance, is just the fact that there's always a pretty big supply of people. Now, people may not understand that they need it, and this is where being a life insurance agent is important, and understanding how to discover people's story and needs, and helping people understand why they do need it. But they do need it, right? It's a big thing, and I'm passionate about that. But that's a passion I've developed over time. But there's an unlimited, a huge amount of inventory in the insurance world. Another thing that I think is a plus that's maybe different is the idea of in the insurance world, we call it renewals. It's like a form of residual income. Obviously, you should be servicing your book, and I encourage you, if you get in the insurance world, to be thoughtful of making sure that you are in a place where you can build a book that you own, because a big advantage to insurance that I don't think real estate offers is the idea of recurring type of a revenue. So as you build a real estate agent, if you're going to be successful, you're going to build really a book of business as well, where you have clients that every time they move, they call you. So there is repeat business, and they're repeat large commissions, which is amazing. So if you're in the real estate world, you definitely, of course, want to work your book and your client base and referrals. The same thing people do in the insurance world. But the nice thing about insurance is that we do get paid. It's not a lot, right? It varies based on what niche you're selling, but we do get paid a little bit recurring on those customers that we help. So while a lot of your income is going to come in that first year of commissions, over time, this is why the business gets better. And it's true with real estate agents, because your book grows, your referrals grow, your experience grows. But you are building in the insurance space a renewal type of income, where you can get paid for what you did last year or the year before or the year before that. And so this is why you see a lot of successful insurance agents, not their first year, but the ones that have been doing it for years, where they have a nice steady renewal type of income. And if they're working their book of business properly, they're also getting those referral sales and things like that. May or may not be near as large of commissions as the real estate agents, unless you learn that niche of those larger commissions. But the idea of building up a renewal income, I think, is definitely, an advantage. So, but you do need to be in the right setup for you in the insurance world in order for you to get that. A lot of setups out there are designed to where only the insurance agency that you may be working with is keeping all of those renewals. So you do need to be kind of thoughtful of that and aware of that and that type of thing. But renewals are a big thing. Either way, I will tell you, both industries are great. I have so much respect for real estate agents. I know there may be tough times, but at the end of the day, right, you can be successful in either path you choose. The principles of success are going to be the same. One thing, or two pieces of advice I would give. One would be mentorship and training. I think most people that are very successful in real estate, I know friends that again super successful will tell you that they probably initiated it, but they went and they found quality mentorship and training to help them learn. And most of them are still continuing to do that, right? They're seeking out to learn and get better. I think that principle is the same, but finding good training, especially when you're brand new, there is a lot to learn. If I were to go be a real estate agent, as much as I enjoy real estate, and as much as I think I know about real estate, I know there's a whole lot I don't know if I were to go be a real estate agent. So training is so important. Definitely in the insurance space, there's so many different niches. There's so much to learn. I'm still learning after years and years and years of doing this. And so again, finding good training, not just about what you're doing and how to go about doing it, finding a process and a system. Those things are very, very important, either path that you give. And the other thing I'll tell you is this. Whichever path that you choose, you need to understand that you may make a lot of money your first year, but you need to expect the fact that it's going to be very, very difficult. Depending on your situation, you may have to do it part-time and you're working. Like, you need to understand that the real results, the real lifestyle, as we like to call it, is going to come right after you have committed and shown up every single day in some form or fashion, being consistent for a solid year. You just need to know that, right? It's not a get rich quick solution, either path that you take. And if you have that perspective, you'll separate yourself from the vast majority of people that will quit in the first year. Not saying people don't quit later, but the majority of them quit in the first year. So make a commitment to whichever path that you decide to go, and I know you can rise to the top and you can be successful. So hey, I hope it helps. Again, my name is Rich with Summit Life Group. We train and support independent life insurance agents nationwide, so that is my perspective. So please understand that. I think, but if you're interested in learning more, you're about life insurance and maybe an agency to partner with, then feel free to fill out the link below to learn more about us. Have a great day.